Margherita Marchione.
Yours is a precious.
Yeah, this is memories of Jews and Catholics in wartime, Italy.
Don't start yet, though.
Very, very good. If you know, before you go away, if you want to take the email or something with their name and you like to read it, it tells you all about it. It's because my husband was a Holocaust survivor. He was 4.5 years in concentration camps, and this sister actually, he wanted to find something, and this sister sent him this book, and she even autographed it.
Wow.
Yeah. So, all right, you have to tell me questions already? Do we start with the Ave Maria Purissima?
If you want.
It's all right. I wasn't a convent, so if you want to know my Latin and kneeling, my knees are full of arthritis from so much kneeling.
Okay.
All right.
We're just gonna pray.
Oh, go ahead.
Let's pray. Is that all right?
Yeah. Go
Okay.
ahead.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. A reading from the book of the prophet Yehezekiel. Thus the word of the Lord came to me. He said, Son of man, I have appointed you as a watchman for the house of Israel. Whenever you hear a word from my mouth, you shall warn them for me. If I say to the wicked man, you will surely die, and you do not go to warn him or speak out to dissuade him from his wicked conduct so that he may live, then that wicked man will die for his sin. But I will hold you responsible for his death. If, on the other hand, you have indeed warned the wicked man, yet he has not turned away from his evil or from his wicked conduct, then he shall die for his sin, but you shall save your own life. If a virtuous man turns away from virtue and does wrong whenever I place a stumbling block before him, then he will die. He will die because of his sin, and his virtuous deeds I will no longer remember. But I will hold you responsible for his death if you did not warn him. When on the other hand you have indeed warned a virtuous man not to sin, and he has in fact not sinned, then he shall surely save his own life because of the warning, and you shall save your own life. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Lord, this is the role of the prophet, and everybody, we believe that everybody who's baptized has this role, and so we ask you again today to enter our hearts and our minds, and open up our ears, our eyes, our hearts, our minds, our hands to your message, to your word. And we thank you so much for bringing this young lady, this prophetess, to us today, to wake up our consciences and to motivate us and inspire us to prevent as much as we can any type of evil or genocide. We pray to the Lord. Lord, hear our prayer. Would anyone like to add any prayers quickly?
For our fellow friends and brothers in faith that have been murdered in North Carolina in that church, for their families, for a time of healing, and may they, catch the person who did this horrendous crime. May we remember that we are united in love, and our prayer goes out to them. We pray for protection of those that are in church and trying to come closer to you, Lord. Amen.
Pray to the Lord. Lord, hear our prayer. Lord, we pray for unity between the Jews and the Christians. May we come to understand each other and really deeply value each other and defend each other. We pray to the Lord.
Lord, hear our prayer.
And Lord, we thank you for bringing Astrid back after her run-in with the burglar. And we thank you for bringing some guests here today. And we ask you to help the recording to go really well so that we can spread the message.
Yeah, I ask I should do all right. Maybe you can help me too.
Yes, Lord, please inspire.
That I shouldn't forget things.
Yes, please inspire Miss Anna Khan, and so that she can move us and teach us, and we can go forth and spread the word. We pray to the Lord. Lord, hear our prayer. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. So She asked me yesterday, can I just start from the beginning, just tell them everything about my life, or do I just have to focus on religious aspects?
Religion.
And the answer is, please, you
Do
tell us.
whatever you think.
You do,
All right.
do it all, do it all.
Well, before I start my story, first I put down good morning, that's nice. My name is Ana Khan. I was born in Monaco, Monte Carlo. Anybody was in Monaco, Monte Carlo? Very nice, I know. And French Riviera. My parents were Germans, born in Germany. I would like to tell you that I'm here as a witness that the church did help. Because there's a lot of people who said that Pope Pius XII decided it would be in the best interest of both Christian and Jews and got along with the enemy. He was a diplomat, got along with the enemy. What they didn't know is that he turned around and told all the Christians, his people, his flock, told them, save the Jews, do everything you can to save them. And he did. But he couldn't tell the enemy that he's going to do anything like that because it would be worse for the Christians and for the Jews. So I told that a lot of Jewish people, actually. You probably, are interested too, because a lot of Jewish people think that Pope Pius XII was just sitting and doing nothing. There were many churches and convents, as well as ordinary citizens who opened the doors to hide Jewish children and families. Yad Vashem, anybody know what Yad Vashem is? It's the Holocaust Memorial in Israel. They have a memorial garden, trees planted in honor of the righteous Gentiles, of Christians, people who saved a lot of, and they got killed for it, because if you were hiding Jews, the whole family was killed. There are too many people who believe the Holocaust never happened, deniers. We have to keep telling our stories. The Holocaust did happen. 6 million Jews died, 12 million Jews, 12 million people, handicapped children, homosexuals, Jehovah's Witnesses, gypsies, and a few more if I don't remember. They all were, they were all murdered. That's in the beginning. Now I'm going to 1936, which nobody was born there. 1929 I was born. And my parents, I was born, we went back to Germany, and I think when I was 4 years old, we went to Spain. My parents, my father loved Spain, the Mediterranean, all the Germans like Spain. The climate, the people, they're, friendly, and he loved it. So I was in Madrid, and then we went to Manzanares, Ciudad Real, de La Mancha, and there I was in kindergarten for the first year. And 1936, because people might know, the Civil War started in Spain. Things were not so good for Christians. The communists, they were killing nuns, they were killing priests. The big cathedral went down and fired. I remember I was a child and was looking at it, and I thought it was, terrible. I always liked church and stuff like that, actually, because my parents were Jewish, but they were not religious, really. They believed in God, period. So I never had any too much lessons, but I felt I had to belong someplace. All the time, until I came to this country, I didn't belong any place. So I used to go to church with my friends and stuff like that. So I know all your prayers, I know in Spanish, naturally, and Italians also. Anyway, that was the Civil War. We had a nice little house. I have to say that that's a side story. That the breadman used to come every morning with a horse and a cart full of bread, and I loved the breadman. I used to go out and give him, centimos, whatever I gave him there for the bread. And I went out, and all of a sudden the breadman was laying down on top of the bread, and I could see he's sleeping. But on the side there was something red dripping. So I called my mother. I said, he's sleeping, he's not giving me bread. When my mother saw it, she took me right away, and somebody killed the bread man. That was during the thing, yeah. That I remember the red. That's what I remember as a child. What can I say? Anyway, That time my father was in Valencia, so I guess he got in touch with my mother, come to Valencia. So suitcases in a train, Manzanares, a small town. The train was full of soldiers. We didn't have even a seat there. We had to sit in our suitcases in the, what do you call it, walkway in the trains? Is that what you call it? Corridor? I don't know. Anyway, so we were sitting, it was 7 afternoon. It was a trip overnight from La Mancha to Valencia. And a soldier came to my mother and saw me sleeping on the suitcase. He picked me up and told him, I'm going to put it in a compartment. I have a compartment there. So he laid me down next to a lady who smelled so wonderful at perfume. That's what I remember. And I remember the long red nails. Don't ask what lady that was. But I was sleeping there all night. During the day, he brought me back to my mother. My father was in the train station. We went to where? To a rooming house. My father had 10,000 boxes of oranges, Valencia oranges. Where are we going? To Genova, to Italy? Spain, wherever there was a war, my father left. So we went down to the docks. The ship was in international waters because they couldn't come into Spain. So we had to go, not with the, what do you call it, tenders, the cruisers they had? Rowboat. It was a big, big rowboat, and they full of suitcases and people, and we went to the ship, and there was no entrance in the ship. What did they have? They have ladders thrown out from the top to the bottom to the water, which we had to climb to the ship. Well, they had sailors in every step to help the people to come up, and I was too small, so they just carried me and they handed me over, or they threw me from one. The reason I know that, because I remember when finally we went in the top, all this was hurting. Anyway, my father registered in the ship, I remember that, and we got to Genova. Genova? In English, I don't know, Genova. Anyway, we were there at another rooming house a few days. We took a train, and we went to Milano. In the train, also full of people, third class, bundles, people. My parents sat next to a lady, all in black, because older ladies are always all in black. And she had bundles on the floor, and I was falling asleep again. And she told my mother, lay her down, on top of her bundles on the floor. So I guess I was falling asleep when I heard polizia. The police was coming to look at the papers. And my parents whispered something to the lady, probably cover me up or something, and they ran out, probably hid in the bathroom, I don't know. But my mother had a German passport, my father had a German passport with a J already. So I was not too good. So anyway, later on I knew about the passports and stuff like that. We got to Rome. How I got to the Vatican, I don't remember, but I found myself in a dormitory in Vatican City in a convent run by Dutch nuns. Long, long dormitory with beds, partitioned with sheets, like in a hospital, so there were more people there. We went downstairs, the third or fourth floor, the convent is still there. If you look at the Vatican City, Peter Basilica, on the left side, in the second columns, they have the big columns. Right in the back of those columns was a building. And that's where I was. Because I remember also, I was third or fourth floor. I was looking at the little window, which we were not allowed to. But I was looking anyway, and I saw the people and the piazza and the whole thing there. And the nuns, the food was delicious. The little paninis, I love bread now, even now, out of this world. And my father went to the office. They have a lot of administration offices, right? They had the basilica, the administration building, the Pope apartments, all. And as you know, the Vatican is a principality. It's a city by itself. They couldn't come in and take you. They have their soldiers, they have everything. And also, I want to tell you that Rome has 3 more basilicas. Now, a basilica, besides the Vatican, St. Peter's, a basilica is bigger than a cathedral. That's what they call it, old basilica. That's what I think. But anyway, I know there are 3 more because we went to another one years after. I forgot the name, St. Paul, and I forgot a few more.
Santa Maria.
And they are also what the government, Italian government taken care of. They did not, they don't belong to Italy like the summer residents, Castel Gandolfo. They're summer resident of the Pope. Anyway, we were there about 10 days or something like that. My father came came to me once and put me a little gold chain, which he thought was with a little cross. That was safe to have a cross around you, everything to be safe. And I also remember looking at little windows in the backyards, and the nuns were feeding the poor. After we were finished, I think that was a convent who were taking care of poor people, and I guess during the war they took care of refugees and stuff like that. So finally, we wanted to come to the United States, but it took 12 years before the quota number, before we could come to the United States. So my mother, I don't know if I said that before, I had a sister who was born in Spain and died in Spain. She was 2.5. They had children's epidemics, no vaccinations and nothing, and many, many children died. As a matter of fact, I remember going into the cemetery when she was buried, and they opened up the caskets there and they put some sand in their feet or something. I don't know. It was a Christian burial. And next to her was a little boy with a sailor suit. That's what I remember more, the little boy with a sailor suit. So anyway, going back, where was I now? Italy? I was still in Italy, right? Oh yeah, and that's why my mother said she wanted to go back to Spain. If we could go to the United States, she wants to go back to Spain, to the cemetery. So the ambassador, Monsignor, not really priests, they were business people. They took us to an airport in Rome. A dark car, I remember. I don't know if it was, nobody should see it, I don't know. But anyway, I know it was black car. And we went to the tarmac running because the plane, a propeller plane, there was no jet planes, was already going. We were the last ones to go, and workers came running, holding me because now the wind would fly me away. It pushed us into the plane. I thought it was great. It was up and down. I thought it was very nice. And now you have to think that I was 10 years old, 10 years old. So a 10-year-old that time, it's not like a 10-year-old now. They know more here now. That time their parents said something, you did it. You didn't ask questions. So anyway, we went to Barcelona through the customs. Right after the Civil War, Barcelona was pretty bad. Pretty ruins, everything. Oh, but the customs, they searched my parents, not me, because there was a lot of contraband.
Contraband, yeah.
Right, and and then my parents were searched. They came. I had a nice little beige coat, and they, picked me up, a taxi. We went through Barcelona, which. No trees, no flowers, nothing in the Ramblas, the big avenue. It looked pretty bad. We went and again to a rooming house. My father took off my coat, cut the lining, and I was the one who was carrying the family fortune. There were envelopes with money and jewelry, because I saw shiny stuff. I don't know jewelry, but I saw shiny and I saw money. My father opened up the envelope. But I really didn't know I was not carrying, so, but nobody, because you could not take too much money out of one country to the other one that time, just a certain amount. So you have to make a living also, and when you go to a new country, you register with the police. You get the thing that you are, you are not a citizen. You are registered with the police, identification papers. And but work, so you have to have money and thing. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you, all of you, that my father always said, buy gold, a piece of gold, you can always buy a loaf of bread. You can always have money, You don't know what can happen to it. It can change. So anyway, that's a hint. And so then we went to Madrid. In Madrid, I was put in an Italian school because I spoke Italian, and for a year about. And then, well, before that, we lived in Diego de Leon 29, I remember the address. I used to play always with children, and the children play with children. They spoke Spanish, I spoke Italian, finally I started to speak Spanish. So after a year, I spoke Spanish already. And this, another thing I have to tell you, another happened, that this little girl, the daughter of the superintendent from the Portero, superintendent of the building, was playing with me all the time, and all of a sudden she wasn't there, and I asked him, said she's very ill in an hospital and stuff like that. So I told my father went down and asked what happened, and they see the family smiling. Oh, she's much, much better, a miracle happened. It came to America, penicillin. So that's, that's what helped. That time they didn't even have that. A miracle, he called it, penicillin. Anyway, this is a side thing I want to tell you what happened, because it impressed me. I found that out much later from my parents. I said, what happened to Luciana? Well, no, she was not. Luciana was in Italy. It was another one. But anyway, did I tell you about Italy? Well, wait a minute. Did I run out? That was Spain already. I forgot to tell you something about Italy now, see? Which was actually important. We were in Milano. We went, did I speak about Milano? No, we went in an apartment.
No, you talked
No,
about
but that's very important. I thought so, but I'm talking about penicillin. Anyway, we were in Milano in the apartment. In 1938, my mother found out that there are a lot of refugees coming from Germany. They escaped from concentration camps. And she went to this Jewish organization, and she told me she likes to feed them. Can she open up a kitchen in her house? And they said, fine, but we have to pay you. She said, fine. So these people got coupons and came to my mother and ate with coupons. 2 years later, things were not so good. Oh, and my mother was feeding 2 policemen. I don't know if it was legal what she was doing. I don't know that. But anyway, these 2 policemen, Italian policemen got paid, and let's see, they got paid. Oh, and they came in close to 1940 to my parents. That's when we went to Spain, actually. We were in Milano, and then we went to Rome. Oh, that's why, yeah. No, that's what he said. Leave Milano, leave Italy, take your things as soon as possible. You are on a list. They're going to come to arrest you. So that's when we went to Rome. Now I forgot about that one. And I wanted to tell you all also, in Milano, we said, I went to school for 4 years, and we had the apartment in front of it was a park, a little park, then there was the main avenue, Corso 22 Marzo, main avenue, and then there was a big cathedral. And again, I used to go all the time, Sundays to Mass with the friends. That's what I forgot, and I thought it was very nice. I liked the ceremonies and the incense and all this stuff. I like that. Anyway, all right, we are back to Spain. I'm sorry. And so my father said, you're going to get a better education. You have to go to a convent. Go to a convent. Go to a convent. All right, I go to a convent. It was a good education. And as I said, what I didn't know, my parents told me years later that it wasn't so safe. They went up to mountains, wherever they went. But I didn't see them for over 2 years. I went into the convent, all dressed up with the uniforms, the long blue thing, and even the underwear was long. Everything was long. Everything was covered. As a matter of fact, I have to tell you, I don't even know if I should be there, but on Saturdays you took a bath. You went to the bathtub was like a swimming pool, a big thing. But before you got into the bath, you had to put something on some kind of a dress open in the sides, open, so you can watch yourself. It's a sin to see your body. naturally. I took it, as long as it was wet, the nuns were all right. I put it in the water, it was fine. But anyway, it was a steady life. It was food, in the morning church at 6 in the morning all the time. Then we had the breakfast, then we had our lessons. I took general culture, what they call, because I went to so many schools already. So general culture, and there also was the piano and French and sewing. We made little dresses for orphans. I remember we had a big roll of material, yellow calico with little flowers. That I remember. And my job was to sew the inside, the seams, to finish the seams. We're all finished by hand. So that was the thing they did for the children. The convent was actually a rich convent, was not a poor one, because there were very wealthy girls and royalty actually also, because they had, I know that because they had a kitchen out of the building, all glass building, and the 18 years old were cooking and learning how to cook. And I told one nun, why are they cooking? And they said, I mean, they're wealthy, they have, castles, they have servants, so they know what to say to the servants. So that was one of the things. But anyway, I liked it. Sundays, again, you could go out. If somebody came in to pick you up, somebody, family member. My mother had a friend, a German friend, who was a nanny for a very rich family, and she was already elderly. She wasn't a nanny, but she lived in the same place. The people took care of her. She spoke German, and she came to pick me up one Sunday, and I had to, prepare, put on better shoes, better whatever I had, and I remember I had a pair of silk stockings at a run, so I had a hook where I couldn't fix it at that time. You didn't have 10 pairs of silk. And the nuns came in into I had a cell, because I was already 12, I was not a dormitory, but a cell with a curtain. So the nuns saw me and said, Sunday sewing, it's a sin. It's a day of rest. You didn't do anything. In the convent. So this lady picked me up. I had to go through a huge room where there was a lot of couches and for visitors. But first you had to face the nun, a big crucifix, and you had to Ave Maria and the whole thing. Because if not, you didn't even go out of there. But anyway, she took me to a movies to say goodbye, Mr. Chips. I don't know. No, I actually saw it, 4 or 5 weeks ago on television because I wanted to see what I didn't like. It was all about a professor in Oxford or Cambridge or something. His life, that was all. Very nice movie. Then we went to for tea and pastry. She took me. And another thing I want to tell you, the nuns, when they go out, or the children go out, you only look at the bottom and the floor. You never look at people. So I found a lot of pennies and stuff like that. And believe it or not, you know what I found? It's good because I'm still doing it more. I mean, I'm still up, but I'm usually, my head is down. It's good for a senior citizen. She shouldn't trip or fall down. You can know where you're walking. That's all little things I'm telling you. And that's my thinking. That I think in the middle of the night, which it made a lot of sense. But anyway, another thing what makes a lot of sense, I told them, somebody out there, that you had very nice food, also long tables, everybody's again another nun watching you, straight up, the food, the thing, knife and fork, God forbid, I cannot eat even without a knife and a fork. So knife and fork and everything, and just the right amount to eat. You didn't stuff yourself. Why? Because gluttony is a sin. So I told some ladies out there, they should tell that to the churches, to tell the children, gluttony is a sin, so maybe the people get thinner. Sorry, but I have to think that. And I think that makes a lot of sense, everything. You just get a piece of fruit for dessert. Never had cake. Yes, we had cake. Why? When Christmas, when there was a nativity scene, and the chapel, And the nuns were dancing, and they were singing in front of the nativity scene, and the habit was usually in black and white, but they were in white. And when the nuns became married or whatever, they prostituted themselves and the whole thing. And all the relatives with it, and that's when you had big cakes and you could have a piece of cake. I couldn't wait for something like that to happen. That was great. Easter, well, the chapel, the Holy Friday, Semana Santa, did everything. Everything purple and black, everything was until Saturday, then everything was nice again. But I was there over 2.5 years, and finally my parents did pick me up. And again, a rooming house, and then another apartment. And then the other apartment actually was 2 rooms, and a big apartment with an Italian lady owned. And she had there a son and a young wife. As it is,